Welcome back everyone, I'm TechDoff, and I've had this Oculus Rift here for about 5 months now, so I thought it'd be fitting for me to give you 5 reasons why back in Black Friday last year I chose the Oculus Rift over the HTC Vive, and then I'll give you a recommendation on what I think the situation kind of is now and if I'd still make the same recommendation. So let's get started, shall we? Number 1 is the controllers. The controllers. Alright, so compared to the Vive, these are much more ergonomic. And if you can kind of see just by looking at it, they actually have sensors under each of the buttons as well as under even the joystick as well. And even just having that joystick in general makes it much more ergonomic in my opinion. I don't have a Vive here to compare it visually, but I did demo both of them before actually making my purchase. And I can still say that the Oculus controllers are much better than the Vive. Even though they don't have chargeable batteries, the replaceable batteries are fantastic, and in my opinion that would actually help longevity as opposed to hurt it. Because as you know, chargeable batteries do lose their charge over time, and replaceable batteries, well, they're always going to be brand new, so don't really have to worry about that. And this isn't just me saying this either. If you read plenty of other reviews, you'll probably hear similar things, that these are much more comfortable. And when I first demoed this thing, I actually didn't even need a walkthrough. It just felt so natural in my hands, and it just feels great. So if you want better controllers, definitely choose the Oculus over the Vive. Number 2 is the games. Alright guys, we all know that Steam is king when it comes to video games, and in terms of virtual reality, that still holds true. Steam is the open platform, and thanks to Oculus's interesting tactics, if you get an Oculus Rift, you're going to have native support for both the Steam store and the Oculus Home store, which is great for Oculus users. But unfortunately for Vive users, you do need to use the Revive hack to play games on the Oculus Home store, and it's not really supported, so it's not really guaranteed to work, but many people have claimed that it's worked. So I didn't want to deal with that personally. I wanted to just have native support, and what I've been doing to not get trapped in the Oculus ecosystem is buy as many of my games as I can on Steam, and I highly recommend you do that too if you do go for the Oculus, because if you ever do decide to switch to another headset in the future, Steam is the most open platform, and it's better to have your games there than on a closed platform like Oculus. So definitely do that. And if you can take a look at these, I'm showing you the libraries here in the back between Oculus and the Steam VR store, you can actually see that there are a lot of similar games, but there appears to be more exclusives to the Oculus than to the Vive. I mean, Vive has some good exclusives too, but it just seems more of the exclusives are for the Oculus, so that's why I chose it. Number 3 is the weight of the headset / comfort. Alright guys, so weight of headset / comfort. I am going to say back when I did buy this last year, the Oculus was about a pound in weight, and the Vive was about 1.2 something pounds. So it sounds similar, but once you actually put it on your head and actually hold them both in your hands, you will be able to tell that the Vive, at least at the time, was a little bit heavier, but since then, I believe the Vive trimmed about 10 to 15% of the weight off of it. So now they're pretty much hand in hand if you're going for the cheaper Vive, but the important thing here to know isn't just the raw numbers, but the distribution of the weight around your head, because when I first wore the Vive, you could definitely tell that most of the weight was in the front part of the headset, and it really tended to tug at your head, and especially if you're like me and you like to play, longer play sessions, it makes it really uncomfortable. But of course, you do have the deluxe audio strap to alleviate that, but that is going to cost you $100, and that is one of the big reasons I went with the Oculus, just because of the out-of-the-box experience was better, as opposed to the Vive, which of course you can make it better, but you got to pay for it. So out of the box, I just felt like the Oculus was more comfortable and more ergonomic. Like I said about the controllers, same thing with the actual headset itself, so definitely a little more comfortable than the Vive. Unless you get the audio strap. Number 4 is the price. Alright, for most of you watching, price is probably the #1 decision you have to make when you choose any VR headset. And back last year on Black Friday when I was choosing my headset, the price of the Oculus was $350 and the Vive was retailing at $600. And for me at the time, that was pretty much a no-brainer because I figured after doing research, watching reviews, demoing both the headsets in store, that even with the extra cost of the third sensor camera, I should say, for room scale, my prescription lenses so I can actually see, and I'll have a link to those in the video description or up top if you're interested as well, and my controller covers, even with all those goodies combined, it still costed less than the base Vive without the deluxe audio strap or any additional games or anything like that. So at the time, for me, it was a no-brainer, but nowadays things are a little bit different because the Oculus actually retails for $400 and the Vive is at $500. So you're a lot closer on price there, but do keep in mind that that Vive price does not include the deluxe audio strap, which will add another $100 to your price right there. So you'll be right back up at that $600 price. Plus, if you want the better earphones, you'll actually have to pay for that as well. So it's a lot tougher decision to make now, but at the time when I bought, it was pretty much a no-brainer. Sacrifice a little bit of modularity and quality, but do keep this in mind as well. Though the Vive costs more, they do have wireless coming up with their WiGig technology, and Oculus hasn't announced anything, which again really disappoints me, but that's something I would consider if I was buying now. And number 5 is the money. Alright guys, so when I'm talking about money, I'm not talking about price. We just talked about price a minute ago. What I do mean is the actual companies that back these products, that being Facebook with the Oculus Rift and HTC with the Vive. And I'm talking about their ability to sustain and grow these products and their ecosystems over the long term, because as we all know, VR is still in its early infancy and there's a lot that can change. A lot of new headsets are coming in, some are going bankrupt, GoFundMes are failing, etc, etc. So at the time, I saw that the price of the Oculus kept dropping from $600 all the way down to $350 at one point when I bought mine over Black Friday, and the HTC Vive pretty much held firm at their $600 price point and weren't budging. They did offer some extra goodies and bundles, but I was more concerned about the price. And I did some research, and a lot of reporters and even I myself contributed this to Facebook's deep pockets compared to HTC, and I figured that since VR is still in its infancy and a lot of things can happen, I decided to get the Rift just because I knew it would be supported over the long haul. And it was a safer bet, because let's be honest, when you're buying VR this early, you're betting on its future. Nothing is certain. VR's come and died in the past before, so I wanted to make sure that my money was well spent. So obviously now your opinion may be a lot different, and it seems that HTC isn't going anywhere with the Vive. In fact, they're making an even stronger push than Oculus, I would argue, in the space. But at the time, I chose Oculus just because of Facebook's deep pockets. But this may not be a major thing for a lot of you, but it is something I would still consider even now, because relatively VR is still in its infancy. Alright guys, now that we've talked about those 5 points that I had about why I chose the Oculus over the Vive last year, the inevitable question you're going to have probably is, hey, what should I buy now? Or should I buy it at all? And this answer might actually surprise you, but if I didn't have a VR headset now, and I was in the market for one, or I wanted to get into VR, I actually wouldn't buy anything right now. The reason being that the Oculus has been out since 2016, and it's already 2 years old, versus the Vive, which of course the price was just dropped. But you're going to have to buy the deluxe audio strap and eventually the wireless adapter, which Oculus hasn't even announced anything about, which is why I'm disappointed. And of course you have the Vive Pro, which is out now, but for $800 without any lighthouses or sensors or anything like that. So in my opinion, I would wait until later this year and I would get the Pro bundle, because I think the experience will be worth it. And that's just my style. I like to buy best available at the time, and I'll save my money and I'll wait. I'm patient. Some of you might not be patient, and if you're not, that'd be a tough choice for me. I'd probably still go with the Oculus just because of, like I said, about the games. You can use Oculus and Vive games on Steam, but I would buy all my games on Steam, like I said before. That doesn't change at all. Don't lock yourself into one ecosystem for sure. But if it were me right now, yeah, I'd wait. Save your money, and obviously graphics cards aren't very cheap right now, but if you have one that works, great. If not, you're probably going to need at least a 1080 or Vega 64, so start saving your money. So that's just what I do, but let me know what you guys would do in the comments below. I'm really curious if you just go out and buy one of these right now for, $400, or if you'd wait and probably pay more than double that for the best experience. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like this video, and leave lots of comments below. See you next time, guys. Peace.